status quo were somehow no longer relevant?
You are listening
What
to
if we were
Urban
faced with a
Alchemy
new medium,
360
a new network, a new system that connected the people and places of the world in a new way?
Urban Alchemy
What
360.
if that system is here?
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Got School. My name's Adria Fox, the It Girl, and I am super excited to be here with you today. We've got school, people. It's just time to breathe. We've been at this for a few weeks, 3 or 4, some of us for a month. And today's resources, I believe, are the critical elements to bring our community together. And remember, we've got help for you. So I'm going to bring on my co-host, beautiful Maria Mohammed. Welcome to the Got School, sis.
Hey, welcome.
Whew.
Thanks for having me.
Girl, it's been about a month now, and I'm super excited to tell everybody what I learned and how things are going. It's kind of a time to check in, right?
I agree. It's a little time to do a little self-assessment, right?
Yes.
Make the necessary adjustments.
So my self-assessment is I got help and I tapped into my resources. So last week I had a week off from school. I had a whole week to myself. My kids were off with their dad and doing great things, still doing school, but I learned to do that. What I took away was tap into my community. So my community reached out. They were like, "Yo, you need some help?" I was like, "Yes, team to the rescue." So they reached out. And the other overarching theme that I keep remembering is community, community, community. And I just want to re-emphasize that to everyone listening, that Got School, we created this platform so people could understand we get it. We're in this together and there's a community. And you probably don't even know the amount of resources. I had another girlfriend volunteer. She's off visiting her daughter. She realized that what it's taking for her daughter to homeschool her 6-year-old who used to go to school every day. And she's there with him from the time they start to the time they end, and she's home. So she's like, "Hey, I'm coming back home. You need some help when I get there." So don't be surprised when your friends start calling you because they realize you have kids and how hard it is. And the other thing that I learned, especially from our last episode, was giving the kids the opportunity to express themselves in this time. Last week we interviewed Robin Lockhart, and he's been working with youth on emotional literacy for 20, 30 years plus. And what I learned from him is giving kids that room to have dialogue and discussion and checking in like you taught us last week, Maria. And welcome back. I want to say welcome back. You've been on vacation. Thanks for coming back. I was like, did I lose her? No, she just went on vacation. So I learned, that's one of the critical things that I learned is really giving my kids that space and checking in with them. So I check in with them at the end of every day. I ask them how their day went, even though they've been in the house. And what was really cool, because they were gone last week, I got an opportunity to just call them. "Hey, how was school today? What'd you do?" And they're adjusting. It's still challenging because they're not with their friends. It really
Yeah, I
is.
think that's one of the biggest adjustments. It's just that social for all of us. So, if we're going through it, our children, if we haven't taught them to articulate their emotions as much as, we have learned, hopefully by now, right? So it's doubly difficult for them. So absolutely providing that space for them to be safe and be okay and complain a little bit if they if they want to and it be okay.
So Maria, now that you're back from vacation, we're ready for our pro tips from Maria.
Okay, so pro tip number one is year round schooling. And I know sometimes that may seem a little daunting to parents, especially if you're homeschooling your children all the time. But year round schooling is what's best for our children and their learning and their continued learning and making sure that there isn't a gap in what they can retain and going into the next year. So we do year-round schooling in our household because it helps our son to be prepared for the next year. But a lot of our summer enrichment, which is what we do during the summer, is project-based. So he has his academics in the morning time, and then we do our field trips in the evening or the afternoon. We find different places to go in the city that are for free, and we kind of tie that into whatever it is that they're learning as well. So that would be my first tip, would be year-round schooling, in which we call summer enrichment. And so my second tip is really to break the cycle. And when we talk about breaking the cycle, what I mean is we don't want to project onto our children what we may not have liked about school. So for me, I'm not a mathematician. I like to say I barely like to count to 10, right? And so I love words. I'm a wordsmith, I'm a writer, I'm a reader, and I'm a storyteller. So that's my forte, but I don't want to project what I perceive to be a weakness on myself onto my son. He may grow up and be a mathematician, which is great. So it's we have to be very mindful that we're breaking the cycle when it comes to educating our children. And then tip number 3 would be to seek help. If you find that you aren't proficient in math, it is okay to ask for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. For my son this year, he has help in math because he's getting in the upper grades. He's in the 7th grade this year. He belongs in the 6th, but he's in the 7th grade this year. And I want to make sure that he has everything he needs that's going to carry him into his college years. So definitely, if you find that you're not proficient in whatever subject that is necessary for your child to succeed, do not be afraid to ask for help and tap into the resources that our community has and that our village has so that our children can be a success.
Whew, okay, you had me scared there with the all year round school thing, but then I said camp, school. Okay, I get that. Camp, school. I could do that. Thank you so much for those tips, Maria. As usual, our pro tips from you really help us cycle through the week and get to the next week with the foundation. It's helping us all set this foundation that a lot of us just never had before because they're home with us and we got school.
Absolutely.
Okay, good morning. Do we have everybody on? We're going to wait just a few more minutes to make sure everybody
good morning.
is on.
Good morning. We've already
Good
been
morning,
on here. We've
good
been
morning,
waiting for about
good
10 minutes. We've been on here
morning.
before everybody.
Welcome
Good
to
morning.
our virtual classroom. I'm so excited. Okay, let's get started. All right, Stacy, are you there? Stacy? Okay. Yes, so we're getting ready to talk about nouns and adjectives and verbs today.
Okay? Oh, yeah. We've already
Now-
studied that. We know that. Yeah.
Yes.
A noun,
Now-
a person, place, a thing.
Mhm.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
That's what a noun is.
And so a
Mhm.
noun is a person,
place, a thing.
place-
We already studied that. He knows that. You know that,
Mhm.
right? What is a noun? He know that. He know that
Yeah.
already.
A noun is a
We studied that, honey.
person,
We
place,
did that. Yes, ma'am.
or
we know that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Yes,
I was
that's what it
actually
is.
gonna
A
expound
noun, person,
upon
place, a
that
thing.
because we were gonna go.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you were going to do more. Yep.
Mhm.
We've
Yes,
done
ma'am.
that too.
I
We've been doing
understand.
that.
I understand
You know all
she-
of that. You know what a
yes.
noun
Mhm.
is, right? What's a noun?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank
yeah,
you.
you know what a noun is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's right here.
Okay, Billy.
I can't hold
Can you
it.
tell your grandmother to
What does that say, baby? I
take
can't.
mute?
Hold on,
Miss
sugar,
Jenkins,
hold on.
yes, ma'am.
Hey,
If you
come here.
press the mute
I said,
button,
come here.
we won't hear
You know what?
everything in the background.
I'm going to take the shoe off now.
Miss Jenkins,
Get on over here
yes,
and sit
ma'am.
down
Can
now.
you press
'Cause I
mute?
told you.
Miss
That
Jenkins.
lady over here trying to tell you what to do. I can't hardly. Ma'am, I don't know.
Yes,
the
ma'am. Can you
instructions
press
say something
mute?
about putting in a password.
Mute.
Are we on? Can y'all hear me?
MUTE, mute.
Because,
Okay. Yes, thank you.
hold on,
Thank you.
sugar.
'cause
What
we-
you
a little
say now?
loud.
Do what
Okay.
now? Mute.
Thank you. Okay. Stacy, baby, are you there? Stacy? Okay. All right. Well, okay. It's been a great lesson. I'm not sure where all the other students are, but I thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Miss Jenkins and Stacy. I'm gonna check on you later to make sure you're okay. Okay, and yes, we know that your son already knows this material, so clearly he didn't need this lesson. All right. Okay.
Okay, then. All right, now. Now, how you end this thing? How you supposed to just... Okay, cause see. Okay. Okay, well, bye-bye. We'll be the first ones on here tomorrow. Bye.
Absolutely.
So Maria,
Absolutely.
are you ready for our guest today? I am super excited, you guys. We are bringing on Kenya Taylor, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. We need to reduce some trauma in our urban communities and just globally right now. So I am honored to bring on our Got School platform. Welcome, Kenya Taylor.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
No, welcome, welcome. We are honored to have you because Kenya, you know, I'm going to be honest. This segment really is about taking time out to check in with our mental health because we don't talk about it enough. And sometimes, you know, I want a sedative. And so my sedative might be, you know, my sedative is tuning out and watching some television. That's my sedative. So I really want parents and families to get this opportunity to spend time with you to really learn what's going on out there in COVID and what have you seen that's the most pressing issue right now.
Every day is every day. We don't have to work for this. We are in a pandemic that most of us have never experienced in our lifetime. It's one thing if you're 100 years old and you experience the Spanish flu, but most of us are traumatized by what's going on now. There's fear of having problems with their health. We don't know if we'll have a job. We don't know how we'll handle the schooling for our kids. It's a new day. And like the pro discussion was referencing earlier, the pro tips, it's important for us to ask for help. We are not alone in this. Just like the greatest athletes, everyone has a coach. And so it's okay to ask for help because that could save us some time, save us some stress. And most importantly, it'll give us an opportunity to practice more self-care and self-love. We hear a lot about self-care. I like that term, but I love the term self-love even more because self-love is about being unapologetic in taking care of ourselves. And it's okay for us to do that because the better we feel, the better we could help our kids, our families, and others.
So I want to know, what are families experiencing? What's going on with families right now that you're noticing in your work that's the most pressing issue around distance learning?
The parents don't know that the kids are learning. You know, everyone isn't good in algebra. Everyone isn't good at deciphering, do I say me or I in a sentence? You know, we're expecting parents to not only do their job as mom or dad, but also to be the English teacher, the gym teacher, the principal, you know, the disciplinarian, the science teacher, the gym teacher. I mean, this is all new. This is all new. And so there's not really a one-size approach for everybody because for some people, they did well in school, they love school. Childcare could be an issue. For others, it's how do I get my 5-year-old who doesn't want to sit still and focus on a computer? Now, although I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, I know what it's like to have children who are part of special education, for example. And so twins are 23 years old now.
Wow.
But I got through it. And so it's important to figure out what resources are out there to help us. Because the schools, they have a lot of money coming in. And I know they always talk about layoffs and, pink slips and things like that. It's time for people to stop wasting money and make sure the families have the services, the individual unique services for each family or child. Because every family or household is different. I know having 2 kids, sometimes one thing worked for one child and something else worked for another child. And it's important for us to have different approaches. So going back to the school, saying, I need this. But one of the things I encourage all family members to do, and I have a history of working in the schools for over 20 years and fighting to get rights for kids of all backgrounds, but especially those families that might be the most vulnerable. I've also worked on the other spectrum of families that had more resources, but the bottom line, every family deserves dignity and respect. So what I encourage our families to do is write down what their needs are, because it's just like if we go to the doctor's office, we know why we're there waiting for a while. The doctor talks to us, we leave, and it's like, oh, the reason I was there, I forgot to tell them. So sometimes it's important just to write it down, because we're already anxious. Some of us are depressed. There's so much stress that's out there. And a lot of times I don't even talk about anxiety and depression. I talk about stress, sadness, overwhelm, because there's such a negative connotation to it. But the bottom line is, this is the time for us to ask for help. Everybody else is doing it. For some reason, especially as women, we were taught to be strong.
Right.
And when you're strong, you don't ask for help. I'm not sure how that came about, but I'm asking for help like crazy. Everybody else is doing it. And this is a way to help empower our families so we can have the resources.
You said something really critical. You said that you work with parents so that they could have their rights and dignity. And so what I see, I just happen to have a mother that I could go to because she was in education for so long. Because simple things like they used to give a bus pass so the kids could get to school, and back on the days that I couldn't get them there. And so today I was like, oh my goodness, if I have to leave, they still need that bus pass. If I have to go to work or do something. So what are some of the tools that are in the toolbox that you've used over the years to help people kind of push that letter and almost demand, like you said, what their rights are?
Absolutely. So, funding, that issue always comes up, but I always ask the school staff, if they can't help, who can? Who can they refer me to? Because there's millions and billions of dollars coming in these schools. Now, I've never been hired by the school district as a therapist, but I've been contracted to work in the schools. I've also been hired by the school district to work as a behavioral health technician, special education technician, substitute. So I've been on both sides of it. But the bottom line is, all these community agencies are working together. We just need people to start talking to one another and figuring out who is the person who knows how to help my family. Because if you have a child with a learning disability, if you have a child who needs that bus pass, if the school can't give it to you, what community organization can? Everybody doesn't want to ask, or even the need for food. And that's a huge issue. I know there's great community partners right now that has several food distributions a week. And sometimes if parents are uncomfortable asking, what I'll say is ask, is there a way to get food to support a community member? We're telling the truth. They don't have to fix them, but for some families, they don't want anybody to know that they're struggling. And I respect that. And so sometimes just changing the wording or saying, I know somebody who needs a bus pass, who could help me out? Or who could help out that community member?
So you're not putting it on yourself. So you're kind of phrasing the question that it might be somebody in your network.
Exactly. It reduces the stigma of seeking support or assistance. Think about it. For some of
That's a
our
good tool.
moms and dads, they want to climb up their, whether it's a corporate ladder or in their organization. They don't want anybody to know that there's a problem. So people a lot of times don't talk a lot about those things.
So then the other question I have is on a scale of 1 to 10, and I know each household is different, but what are you seeing as the stress level during this time? Because I can't imagine, not having access to resources. And I want people to know that if you're feeling a certain way and you know what that stress, so on a scale of 1 to 2, on average across the board.
People are resilient. People who are listening here today to us, they're seeking help. They're learning new strategies. We don't always give ourselves credit when we're in a crisis. And so that's why I'm not giving that 8, 9, or 10 or 12, because there have been 401 years where people who look like me have been thriving in different ways, even though the system has been against us. And so we continue to make a way out of no way. And I don't want to diminish that. But at the same time, I do know people who are having difficult times with going to work because they need childcare. That's a real stressor. Do I stay home with my family? Do I risk it all? Or do I feel like I'm risking it all? Where do I get more masks so I could keep my family safe? So I would say a 7. Even though we feel like it. Sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
You said something really critical right there is the ability to get access to childcare. So again, just kind of, I always use myself as the example. I'm like, my kids are older, so leaving them is okay. And then I'm like, no, if they were at school, I can't leave. The teacher can't leave the classroom. So again, we're kind of back to that, like the fear of like, okay, if I'm not there with them, what's going to happen? And they're really mature, but at the same time, I'm thinking as a parent who's by themselves.
No, I think it's excellent that we are acknowledging that there is a stress level, but also acknowledging that we're doing really good. I think that when I say really good, I mean as a community, we're really being here for each other. We really are. We really did come together and decide that we were going to save ourselves during this pandemic, right? And so we started the food distributions. They're all over the place, right? Especially in southeastern San Diego and places where they wouldn't normally be good quality food that we're giving our community members, right? And so we have been covering down. I see it on Facebook where, hey, send them over here to me. You got to go to, so the uncle may have them 2 days, the cousin may have them 1 day, and, the nephew on a Friday. But everybody is really coming together, and we really are seeing that we are resilient and we are covering down for one another. And I love that the doctor mentioned that, because a lot of times we're so caught up in the stress, we're really not giving ourselves the credit that we deserve to be able to do all that we're doing in the middle of a pandemic, on top of a pandemic, crisis that many of us were already living before COVID-19 hit, right? And so I think that was excellent to make that distinction, that I know it may feel like a 12, but if we really take time to look at how well we have done with covering down for each other and coming together, then it really is a 7. It is some stress because, yeah, we in a pandemic, but we really are doing a very good job, I think, in being there for each other and really being that village that we often hear about and talk about.
There are some community organizations, such as the ones that we're involved with, that if you plan right, you have food every day of the week. Nobody else is doing that. We're not getting the news coverage for it. We're not getting the funding for it. But every day of the week, our families could have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and as Sister Muhammad said, quality food.
The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that once we got the believers straight, and we got our families straight, and we should help as many as we can. So following the example taught to us by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan in helping our community, being a servant to the community, that's what we've done, and that's what we've tried to do in Mosque number 8 for the past 21 years, and I'm my brother's keeper since it was first founded in 2002. We're going to stay in it now because now we're not only distributing, but we're also storing and rescuing food. We have a lot where we have 3 40-foot containers on the lot. One is refrigeration, another one is for dry storage, and another is a combination of dry storage and refrigeration that we have on the lot.
I heard about this through a friend, and I'm very grateful because, you know, we need food, and that's something less that we have to worry about. So it's close to my house. I just took the trolley there, and I know that some communities don't have that. In other countries, they don't have that. Like I heard a friend, like in Mexico, my grandma was telling me that she doesn't have any food distribution. So I'm grateful that we have that in our community.
You do what? How many deliveries you got? I have 5. Rhea has 5. Here. We're gonna open it to for myself. Here. The importance of having a food distribution in our community, man, is very important. If you see just the number of people that's here, man, our people's hungry, man. We ain't like those across the 8 freeway, man. That's living off 401ks, man. You know, so it's very important, man. We gotta feed the people. If we don't do it, who else gonna do it?
Kind of need, you have this COVID-19, you have a lot of, you have a lot going on, but then people still have to feed the people in need. We still have to do what we can to make a difference. No matter what situation, no matter what trials come in our way, we still have to give back, even though it's crazy right now. And so, like, I love giving back to the community. My time is just being around other people, and it's a blessing. And so, if it was more people, to donate just like an hour to a good cause, this world would be a better place.
My experience here at the food distribution has been very humbling. It's been a rush, especially handling the cars. It's definitely put me into a state of gratefulness at a time like this, you know, to be able to have and be able to give.
It trips me out since day one of being out here and seeing the faces that are doing the giveaway, and not just a handout, but a hand up. And it just thinking back to when we started, it's the same people that was there when we started. So consistency, you know what I mean? That's called commitment, not to a moment, but to the movement. And the movement is of the people and helping, and it's more than just giving out food. And I'm my brother's keeper. I know that's why we commit ourselves understands that. This is giving out love, and it's showing our community that they do have support here. And you know, ain't no big funders jumping in here. You know, ain't no major news coverage, and we could care less. We doing what we have to do for our people, man. I'm my brother's keeper, truthfully.
So we haven't missed a beat. We've been out here every Tuesday, love it. It's an amazing feeling. You know, sometimes I don't feel good, but this uplifts my spirit. You stuff right there. This uplifts my spirit just being out here every week. Just to help the people. You know, when you're feeling down, the best thing to do is uplift somebody else. Help the community. That's what you gotta do when you're feeling bad.
Thank you, I am my brother's keeper.
I've never seen anything like this in my life as far as just a good supply, a healthy supply of food. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, and we're talking like, you know, fresh lettuce, meat, steaks, you know, ground beef, and it's not canned, it's not processed. And so I just want to nod to I'm my brother's keeper. I'm just going to say it. And I Am Green and Urban Alchemy 360 for the work that they're doing in the community to assure that people are getting good, healthy food. during this time.
Yes.
Because if you think about it, especially we're talking about school, right? When people take their children to school, a lot of parents were depending on, from the time they drop them off to the time they pick them up, that they're going to get 2 or 3 meals sometimes, especially if you're a parent that has to go to work from 9 to 5. So school was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they would send home on Friday the backpack of extras so that they could make it through the weekend. So that's another stress relief. I'm so proud to honor in the city that we live in and other cities. And I have talked to other cities, you guys, and we are doing, they're like, where did you guys, how did that happen? And I would just want to say that it was a blessing sent to San Diego, and the organization of the organizers that put all that together. So the community is at the center of everything that we do. So thank you for that nod. I really appreciate that. So in closing, we want to give any closing comments, anything that you're thinking top of mind. Again, we're talking about relieving stress during this time. Any tips for our viewers? Kenya?
The big thing would be to try to have more fun. Sometimes people feel guilty to have fun when there's so much going on around. But the more that we could try to practice that self-love, the more likely we are to stay healthy, the more likely we don't have to worry about our blood pressure going up. You know, even eating quality foods, it could decrease the chance of diabetes. If we're stressed, that's a likelihood as a parent we'll yell at our kids. So the more fun we could have helps everybody. You know, back in the day, even now, they say if mama's happy, everybody's happy, right? And so it's necessary for us to try to have more fun creating a new normal. We don't always have to have a bunch of money or any money to have fun. We could take a walk in the park. We could walk around the block. But it's important for us to try to stay as happy and whole as we can, because we'll get through this. With all the pandemics every 100 years that we have, we always get through them. And this is an opportunity for us to figure out who's in our network, who's one of our friends, family members that we could rotate childcare. We could rotate going to the store. You know, it takes a village. And this is a great opportunity. While we're doing that, if we don't pray together, laugh together, listen to music together, there's things that we could do to make this doable.
I agree. So I'm going to get my roller skates.
Yeah.
I've been saying I'm going to do it. So I'm going to get my roller skates, and when I get them, I'm going to take a video and anybody can join me. That's another way that I have fun. I forgot, like, what did I used to do? I used to think, like, what did I used to do to get out the house? My son asked me, what did you do for fun? And I'm like, I went to the beach, I went swimming, and I roller skated. If I couldn't go to the rink on Saturday over there on University, it was over. So I'm going to get some roller skates. And so that's my final thought. Have fun. I'm going to get some roller skates, and I'm looking for people to join me. So when I get them, I'm going to announce that on God's School. And Maria, any final thoughts?
I would have to agree with both of you as far as having fun. We brought back out the game boards. We're doing the board games, the things that I didn't even think about that I hadn't taught my son how to play Monopoly, because everything is so high tech now. So we went low tech, and now we have the board games, we have the family night, and we're doing a whole lot of bonding. This one great thing out of this pandemic is definitely becoming stronger and more bonded as a family, because we're really taking the time to talk and really listen. We have the time, and we are making the time to talk and really listen to one another. And so we're growing stronger in our bonds with one another. So absolutely that, taking the time to have some fun. I think that's a good tip, and I'm going to keep rolling with it. So thank you for that. And I also wanted to say that Paving Great Futures is integral and a part of food distribution. I definitely did not want to leave that amazing organization out.
Tell me when we go slide. I'm about to go check on the situation. Check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. And Kenya, Master Kenya, I like that. Master Kenya Taylor, what are you up to in the world and how can people find you?
Well, what I'm up to, I just never know each day. I'm honored to have just been selected as one of the board of directors for Paving Great Futures as of last week. So that's a new venture that I have. I'm honored with all the hard work that they do. In addition, I'm a commissioner for our Human Relations Commission for the County of San Diego. And I really want to increase opportunities dealing with relations in our schools because the kids are there from a good majority of the day. And it's important for us to have more influence and have more accountability there. Also, I'm part of the NAACP. I participate in a number of community activities, but also if someone wants to contact me, feel free to reach out to Kenya Taylor Cares at Gmail. That's Kenya Taylor Cares at Gmail. I'm in the process of updating a brand new website that I'll be releasing in about a little less than a month. But I encourage anybody to reach out to me, especially if they have concerns with special education needs. That's a huge fight that I'm addressing right now. And I have over 20 years experience working with families who have children in our schools that have special needs. And so we want to make sure our kids learn and thrive and be the best that they could be.
So thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you, Kenya, for being here. I'm just going to remember to keep checking in. It's Self-Love September, everyone. Self-Love September. And to continue starting with love for yourselves. So an incredible show, as always. I'm super inspired by all the inspiration you brought to the stage, Kenya. And this is our segment. So Maria, what are you up to in the world and how can people find you?
Well, they can find me at I Am Green. We have a group on Facebook, so please look for us on Facebook at I Am Green and join our group. We are going to be doing a giveaway, and this is the Self-Sufficient Backyard. These are homesteaders that have over 40 years of homesteading experience where they teach you to completely live off grid. And we have seen how our community needs to be resilient during these times, during the pandemic. So they teach you how to make your own food, grow your own food, your own electricity, your own water collection, the whole 9 yards. So we'll be giving away this book in October, but right now it's Self-Love September at I Am Green. So we are posting every single day with different things that help us to be resilient and robust physically, mentally, and spiritually. So please join our group at I Am Green.
Thank you, ladies, so much for being on the show. We so appreciate you, Kenya Taylor, and all your expertise in mental wellness. You're going to be our in-house expert. We're going to come to you more often, so look forward to that. And as always, Maria, our homeschool expert, the pro tips are always on point, always useful, and we use them. Believe me, I use them. I write them down. I'm going to start putting them on the board somewhere. And thank you to our UA360 network team, Milan Rivera, and all the people behind the scenes for making this show happen. And now I'm going to tell you guys what I've been up to in the world, because we've been up to some more incredible things as usual here on the Urban Alchemy Network. The most recent thing that I'm so proud of is what we're doing with building through our C4GS communities for global sustainability. We're going to be building in Paradise, California. Many may not know, but Paradise, California burned down as a result of negligence from the power company. And so they lost pretty much all the homes and buildings just in a matter of minutes. So we've been asked to come in and help support with our sustainable housing projects and build back that community. So we're really, really excited about that. And lastly, here on the UA360 network, we are going to be doing more shows. So if you're a content creator or looking to start your own show, we are here to help you do that. We're interested in content creators that understand how your mind works. So those intelligent people out there that understand how your mind works and connects in various different ways, we're looking for that type of content. And we also like spirituality, anything for the soul and feeding yourself beyond this physical body also. and also the physical body. We got to get fit. Thank you, Maria. And I am green for the 50-50 challenge. I'm in it. I haven't been posting because I'm a little shy, but I have been doing my own little workouts. So we thank you for that. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Got School. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.